If there's one good thing you can say about shows like Game of Thrones, is they can do some pretty kick-ass female characters. In fact, before I saw this, I didn't realize how much I missed some of this. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 4, The Spoils of War. And you know what? The episode started off slow, but by the end, it had given me so many of those things that I'd been hoping for since around Season 2 that I just couldn't stay mad at it. I said last week was the best episode so far, but I think that this one gives it a run for its money. Maybe not as good, but definitely close. If you're just tuning in, I do weekly reviews of all sorts of shows, so hit that subscribe button and modify it for alerts. Hit the little bell button, because not only do I do the reviews, but I also talk about theories behind storytelling itself every Sunday night. You can catch the one I put up earlier tonight, just a little while ago. But okay, enough about this. Even though we haven't seen the Night King all season, we kinda have felt his presence over and over again, especially tonight. Let's jump right in. Consider this your spoiler warning, and of course, like every other episode of an HBO show, just on that off chance you're a little squeamish, we're going to throw up a trigger warning too. What sort of trigger warning? Violence tonight. Lots and lots of violence. In fact, I'm kind of surprised none of our main cast bought it. Well, maybe. That's the spoiler for the end of the episode. Because we got to see dragons in battle! Come on! Who hasn't been waiting to see this? Oh, you know who hasn't been waiting to see this? People like John, who were kind of like, oh, yeah, you shouldn't be using the dragons, or else you're just more of the same. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Because the beginning of this episode, the part that was kind of a little meh, was all about Cersei and the Iron Bank and this and that, and then the Stark reunion that, once again, just felt so forced. Arya at the gates, and the fact that the guards wouldn't say, hey, if you're really Arya, we'll let you in. But if you're not Arya, you're in a shit ton of trouble when we call up and no one can prove you're Arya. I guess having dumb guards is just a thing in Westeros. So let's talk about a couple of the meh moments. We have Littlefinger visiting with our new three-eyed raven, Bran, but I guess Bran doesn't see all and know all, because he doesn't know not to trust Littlefinger, or that Littlefinger's the ass that got his father killed. If he did know that, he should have said something by now. So I don't know why he didn't look into what got his father killed, but okay. Sansa does warn Bran. Littlefinger doesn't do anything for free, so the fact that he gave him the knife means he expects something. I did like Bran giving the knife to Arya, just because, well, Arya having a Valyrian steel blade when the final war comes is awesome! And then there was a little bit of meh with the whole, with Mira leaving. I mean, I really had hoped that the scene would continue when Bran said, I don't need you anymore, but I want you to stay. And I think that's what she wanted too. Oh well, I guess having a little prepubescent love story is the weirdness of Game of Thrones. But remember how I told you guys a few episodes ago that I had not originally read the books before I saw the TV show? I was well into Season 2 before I started reading the books, maybe even the beginning of Season 3. I'm not 100% sure on that now. But either way, when I first saw Arya, I thought for sure she was going to become some badass warrior. And once we met Brienne in the show, I was like, oh, Brienne and Arya totally need to get together. They're going to have a badass scene. And my friend who had already read the books before, the one who let me borrow the books actually, was all like, yeah, that's not going to happen. But that little training montage, as much as it wouldn't make as much sense in the books as it does in the show, it just was so awesome. It totally brought a smile, and it actually made me laugh at just how awesome it was to finally get to see these two characters on stage together. I hope that look that Littlefinger gave them was, geez, I better be careful, because those two are gonna kill me if I mess up this game. From that point on, though, the episode just elevated, maybe because of that. Jon on Dragonstone felt a little more natural tonight, and Dany felt more like Dany and less subservient, more outgoing, more influential. Although Davos not only has the best line of the episode, Davos has the two best lines of the episode. First, when asking Jon what he thinks of Daenerys, yes, I've watched you stare at her, good heart. And then, again later, when Jon and him are talking to Missandei, he says back to Jon, are you going to understand why I switched sides to her? Because, let's be honest, someone from Flea Bottom probably has a lot of respect for the idea of the queen you choose instead of the queen that was born to rule. But either way, Varys really doesn't do much more than be set dressing tonight. Grey Worm isn't really in the episode. Missandei shows up just for a little bit of girl talk with Dany, which even that felt kinda cool. Kinda like the way two friends would talk. What happened? A lot of things. A lot of things, you say? That seems like the conversation my sister would have with her best friend, so that works for me. But the real push, of course, is Tyrion and Jon giving Daenerys advice. And I don't know. I kind of like what Dany did. Because dragons, dragons, dragons are victory! But wait, still jumping ahead here, because Jon leading Daenerys through the caves and showing that the Children of the Forest mined dragon glass here before, and they worked with the First Men against the White Walkers was cool. So before we get into the final battle, some setup. So Crazy Queen Cersei is repaying the Iron Bank with gold so they can reinvest. That's, guess that touches the accountant in me. Because, yeah, you pay back one loan to take out another makes sense in my mind. Although I'm sure a lot of people will be lost with that. Him comparing her to Tywin yet again, although in a favorable way, does make me think that they're really trying to push that Cersei's really on the ball here, even though I don't think she really is. But in order for there to be any war, we definitely needed Cersei to have all the advantages up till now. Midway in the season, she now got dealt her first real blow. And the first hint of that is when Theon makes it back to the not the Iron Islands, to Dragonstone, and says he's come to ask the Queen for help. The Queen isn't here. Well, where is the Queen? Going after Jaime and his forces. Which, you know what? This was not going after innocent people. This was going after an actual war machine. I think it was a pretty fair use of the dragons. And as much as I liked all of it, the things that stood out to me was that the Lannisters actually tried to use a good battle tactic. They wanted to use the shield wall. And you know what? The Dothraki are used to fighting people that use shield walls because they fight unsullied. So they were used to it and ready to jump over them. And what happens when that hits? Well, the Dothraki have a slight advantage. They're horsemen going against foot soldiers. But the shield wall could almost make up for that. Except you can't make up for dragons! That's like heavy artillery medieval style. Medieval fantasy style? Whatever. I do hope that it did drive home how terrible of a weapon Dragonfire is, though. Well, at the same time, got you hyped for what Dragonfire is going to do to whites. So, then there's the fact that the ballista does work. What did they call it? The scorpion? It works. It will pierce the dragon's hide. So that's now a fear going in. One of my friends said that he's sure that Cersei and them are going to take down a dragon before the end of this season. I don't know. I think if anyone's going to take down a dragon, it's going to be the Night's King. Because I totally want to see him animate a zombie dragon! Most of the pieces have been moving into place for years now. But now that we have most of the Starks back in Winterfell, and just Jon that has to go, and we know the Brotherhoods Without Banner are already heading to Eastwatch by the Sea, and we know that Jon's going to probably be heading back there too, maybe with Dany's help, it's getting time to be that big climactic showdown. But we still have some things to do back in King's Landing, because Cersei isn't gone yet. Should be, but isn't. So, I'm not sure what you guys thought of tonight, but I'd love for you to let me know down in the comment section. Were you as excited as I was for the Brienne and Arya training sequence? Were you as meh as I was about Bran and Littlefinger? Or most of the Lannister storyline and the Iron Bank? Were you super hyped to finally get to see a battle with dragons? If so, let me know either way down in the comment section below. And of course, if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you could like and share this video, because I'm trying to build a community here. And if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button and enable alerts, because I do theory videos on storytelling every Sunday, and I do reviews of all sorts of genre TV shows throughout the week, and movies when I get the chance. I'm trying to figure out why we tell these stories, how we tell these stories, and what's so important in them. And with themes so strong as Game of Thrones, I'm sure you're going to want to hear it. So come back here next time, and for now, I hope you have a good night, and thank you for walking with me through the heart of the stories we tell.